Okay, excited about this week. Great challenge on the road versus a good football team. Winners of 4 straight. They're playing very well, period. They're also playing really well at home. It's a tough place to play. It's loud, so we have to be about our business, obviously. Well coached, good players, but the story with their 4-game winning streak is the turnover margin. They're doing a great job of getting the football. I think 13 maybe in the last 5 games, takeaways, which is incredible. So you have to take care of the ball, and then they're doing a nice job of taking care of the ball. They're winning that turnover margin. We know how important that is to winning and losing. So huge challenge for us, AFC opponent on the road, so we have to have a great week of practice. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Hey, Kevin, you mentioned how tough it is to play. With Dorian, how much of a challenge is that in his first road start in the NFL? Do you think he learned anything from how you guys handled that Seattle situation?
Yeah, I think we do lean on that Seattle week. When you go into these buildings and stadiums that are that loud, there are certain things that you have to do offensively to communicate, and that's communicating in the huddle, at the line of scrimmage, on the sideline. So Dorian obviously was a big part of that and experienced that, but yeah, it's a tough place to play, and the crowd noise is a big part of that.
Kevin, 4 months later, did the Greenbrier work? Did you get the intended results out of that?
I don't know. I think for me, I can barely remember it.
Where were we? We've had guys like bring it up
Yeah.
in other questions. So has someone brought it up to you, like that they thought it worked?
Worked from which perspective? Getting the football
Not
team?
operationally, camaraderie, chemistry.
Yeah, I think when we talked about it, I mean, a part of that is wherever you go and you're under one roof, it's very organic to come together and hang out. And it's just, my experience at the Vikings all those years, we went away to Mankato, which was an hour away, and you were under one roof. Gage Hall was the dormitory, no longer standing. But I just think there was a shared group of guys in one place. So I think from that perspective, it's a way of getting guys to hang out with each other when it's hard to do when you're jumping in the car and you're heading home after practice.
First impressions of Joe Flacco?
Joe's done a great job. He and I have a lot of mutual people in this business that we know. I have not worked with Joe previously, but has been in a lot of systems, so somebody that I can talk to about different systems, different coaches, things he's called, things in the past. So a wealth of knowledge and a great resource for not just the quarterback room, but this entire team.
He doesn't feel the need to necessarily put Dorian at ease, knowing that he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback and what have you. Have you had those conversations with him, though, about what his role is and how he's going to kind of blend in here?
Yeah, he's a pro. He just has to be a great teammate, and that's what he's done. And part of being a great teammate is showing up and doing your job. And think about all the guys we've had over the years, veterans that provide great leadership without having to say much. We have guys on our roster now that do that. So Joe's just going to be himself in his own unique and authentic way and help this football team by the way he prepares.
Who your number 2 quarterback in Denver is going to be?
We'll worry about all the roster stuff, throughout the weeks, but no.
Kevin, did you observe the little workout with Flacco?
Yes.
Thinking his mobility at age 38.
Looked better than you at 38.
Kevin, you were obviously complimentary of what Denver's done in these last couple of weeks. First 4 weeks of the season, they lost 3 games by 1 point, and now if you look at that 4-game win streak, they've won 3 of their last 4 games by 1 or 2 points. Turnovers, obviously part of that, but are you noticing that they're doing something differently that's kind of trying to flip those once tight games?
Yeah, there's always little nuances to scheme that you adjust as the season goes on, and you come into a season thinking you're going to be doing one thing, and you oftentimes adjust based on what's in front of you and how you're doing. So there's certainly things that they're adjusting from a schematic standpoint, but I can't overstate how important that turnover margin is when you're talking about winning and losing.
Kevin, it's natural for a young player when you bring in someone as accomplished as Joe to kind of wonder what it means for them. So what was your message to Dorian this week with Joe coming in?
Yeah, honestly, Dorian needs to focus on his job. That's what he's done his whole time he's been here. He's done a great job. We had a spot in the room. We had to add a quarterback. I think we added a guy with great experience who fits in really well in that room. But as far as it relates to Dorian's preparation, nothing changes.
We don't get to talk to Jim Schwartz tomorrow, but as great as the defense played, the one Achilles seems to be, that small, shifty third down back like Keaton Mitchell and last week Warren. They've got some guys with Denver. I mean, is there a focal point, to try to slow that guy down?
Yeah, well, those are good players that you just mentioned, Fred. So, you're going to play in these games where there's going to be some, whether they're big and physical or small and physical, you got to find ways to get them on the ground. There's definitely plays that we can fit better, that we can tackle better. That will never change. We're always trying to play sound defense, certainly sound run defense. Takes all 11 guys doing their job, being where they're supposed to be, and then ultimately just getting the player on the ground.
Victory over you guys in week 2 last year with the Jets give you kind of the knowledge or the vibe that he still has plenty left in the tank?
Well, I think with Joe, he's got that's just one game. I think he has plenty of games that you can evaluate over his career. Again, brought him in for a workout to see physically how he looked, and but I think it's a total evaluation of his whole career, really.
What did you think of how that tackle rotation worked with Hudson and DeJuan? And is that something you want to keep doing, or was that something you did just out of necessity with DeJuan coming back?
Yeah, we'll see, really, as we move forward, see how DeJuan continues to respond coming off that injury. But we'll always use our players in spots where we feel like they're best.
Deshaun comes in here with that reputation, and players, gravitate to him like immediately. So how have you seen that relationship with the players and Dorian be growing?
Yeah, but Dorian's a rookie. He's a young player. He's first things first, do your job, and I think he's doing that. And I think veterans respect when you're a young player and you work at your craft. So that's something that I've seen from Dorian really from day one. He works very hard at his job, and I think he's getting even better at working at his job, and his teammates see him prepare. But as the starting quarterback, when you're out there, you're leading the football team. You're leading the offense. It's just how it goes with the territory, and it's something that Dorian's very comfortable doing. He's done it his whole life.
Kevin, Denzel and Grant are on that pre-practice report. Is there concern that they won't be ready for something?
We'll see. It's Wednesday.
And then with AWOC, is he a candidate for IR, or is it something
No.
they can keep?
Yeah.
But, Russell Wilson and just how well he's been playing, especially in this 4-game stretch.
Yeah, Russell's playing great. I've seen him play quite a bit over my career and just watching him, and I was fortunate enough to be part of the coaching staff down there at the Senior Bowl when he was coming out. So I got to know Russell for that week and just was an unbelievable person, unbelievable player. I think he's playing at a high level, like I mentioned, taking care of the football, running their offense really, really well, and is very capable of making those off-schedule plays that he's made his whole career. You've seen him do it in these games. He gets out of the pocket, and he can run. He can throw it to all areas of the field. So he's a major point of this offense.
Does Flacco's exposure to Kubiak in Baltimore make it a little easier for him to transition to their offense?
I think that helps. Some of the stuff he did with Coach LaFleur at the Jets as well. He's been in Denver, was with Rich Scangarello, so he's been in similar systems. So when you're a quarterback like Joe and you've been in a bunch of systems, you're pretty good at picking these playbooks up quickly. So he's working hard at that.
And when it comes to road games, you use the crowd noise in practice to get guys ready. So how do you get them ready for being a mile high?
Yeah, I think that's all part. Every team that goes into their building talks about that. There are things that you can do during the week to prepare yourself. There's things that you can do during the game to prepare yourself. But we also have guys that have played there both as a visitor and played there as being a Bronco. So we have insight into that as well.
What kind of instant cred do you have in the locker room and in the meetings and out on the field when you're a former Super Bowl MVP and these guys know you've been there and done it?
Yeah, I don't know that the players look at it that way. Mary Kay, I think they see, a guy that's joining our team as a teammate is going to do whatever he's asked to do. In the meeting rooms, on the practice field, you name it, Joe's really just goes about his business.
I mean, I know it's only been a couple of days, but have you seen Dorian start to pick Joe's brain at all, just about his experience in the league?
I think all those conversations happen really in every meeting. I sit in there in the quarterback meetings this morning and throughout this week. you talk a lot about what you see on film and your different experiences. So I think between Joe and PJ with AVP, I think there's a lot of experienced people in there that can help a young player.
Yeah, but how does Sean Payton tweak that offense over the course of this season? How are they different from where they were even maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, they're explosive. They have explosive playmakers on the perimeter from their backfield. You know, talked about Russell as the quarterback. I mean, they can be super explosive. And I think the thing you're seeing recently is just how well they're taking care of the ball, which complements how their defense is playing as well.
Back to Dorian's leadership. The guys before the game said that they were impressed with him kind of correcting them and knowing what to do, and then we saw that on that last 2 minutes, him pick Kareem up and put him in place. Has he impressed you with his ability to not only understand the playbook, but to be able to get his team rallied around it and show them what they need to do?
Well, I think that's the quarterback's job, Cam. Regardless of how many years you're in this thing, that's your job, to direct traffic, to operate, to get people lined up, those type of things. So that's why he works so hard, and young quarterbacks have to work so hard at knowing their job so they can help everybody else do their job.
A couple more. Steve's pass rush had a lot to do with how the game was called last week. But the more Dorian's out there and plays, do you feel like you can expand, I guess, play calls and the game plan?
Yeah, I think every game plan is different. Every game plan is based on what what you're doing, what the defense is doing, what they're taking away, those type of things. So I think you have to be ready going into every week of figuring out based on matchups what you want to do.
Kevin, pretty much the top half of the league, the teams that are playing best are the ones that have had their opening day starting quarterback successfully stay healthy. You guys are the exception to that, and you've found ways to win games despite the fluidity in that room. What is it about the culture you've created at quarterback that has allowed for you guys to stay successful despite having several different guys play?
Yeah, we just look at it as we have a job to do regardless of who's playing any of our positions. This is how it works in the NFL. Guys are in and out of your lineup, and we just know that we have a job to do. Okay, thanks, guys.